What's holding you back on your glamping operation? Is it finances? Is it the government shutting you down? Well, I've got some encouraging words for you today. Hey, I'm Chris Jube, the Glamping Guy, and I'm in the middle of running a class called Easy Entry to a Glamping Business. It's a video course on how to build a safe, legal, and profitable glamping operation on your private property. The first video is called My Glamping Journey, and it just released this week, where I shared with you my exciting life story, getting into glamping, and getting into trouble. But I 100x'd my dreams in just 5 years of operation, and I believe you can do the same. So if you haven't registered yet for Easy Entry into the Glamping Business, go to glampingguy.com and get registered today. Okay, so part of being in class is that you get free consultations from Glamping Guy. I have a couple of juicy letters from students who've wrote in, and I would love to give some time to answer them. The first letter comes from Daniel. My wife and I loved your first video, and we have 2 obstacles holding us back. One was kind of personal, I'm not going to go into it, but the other one was finances. He has an RV that he remodeled on 19.06 acres in the Great Sand Dunes area of Blanca, Colorado. I've been to Blanco, Colorado, well, driven through it. I love that area. It's a wonderful place for a glamping operation. So Daniel has an RV and land, 19 acres, over by the sand dunes. Get glamping. You have just knocked out 2 of the most expensive obstacles in starting your glamping operation. But I bet you I'm being simplistic here. There's lots on your mind. There's things like land development and finances, access points, what else? Permitting, zoning, all sorts of things. You probably got a lot on your mind in how to develop that. But I got an idea for you. Now, I'm recording this on April 3rd, and you're not too far from here in Colorado. In a couple of months, the mountains will be crawling with people wanting your glamping site to stay on. I encourage you to set a launch date. Let's say June 1st. And then you get to work right now. That means in about 8 to 10 weeks, you should have your glamping operation up and running for the summer busyness. Don't do what I see a lot of landowners do. That's, I'll do it someday. And they analyze it to death until they just never do it. You can always find some reason not to start a glamping operation. And I think June 1st is a great date to set. You could have your RV up and running by June 1st, and I think you'll be surprised at how much money you make on your glamping operation. But guess what? Even more importantly, you will learn a ton when you put something up half ready than you will if it was 100% ready and everything's thought through. And that'll make you a very successful glamping host. Letter number 2 comes from, you know what, I'm going to keep his name private because I might get him into trouble. He sent me an email saying he's shut down and not able to run his glamping operation. I asked him for more information, and sure enough, his county just passed an anti-STR, stands for short-term rentals, ordinance that banned tents and RVs in his county. He had a tiny home on Airbnb before this. Now, before I get into this, I need to share with you a philosophy of mine. I do not advise you to break your municipality law or your ordinances, but I do recommend you cracking your code. Glamping is brand new. There's nothing like it in any code anywhere. Just like-minded words like tents and RVs. In the case of this student, he was asking me, this is where he might get into trouble, would you recommend trying to rent it at first and then ask for forgiveness? I get your pain and I understand it. The temptation is to do it anyway and just let the city hall catch up to you. But let me tell you, that is not a very good long-term business strategy. I suppose you could put up something and knowing that it's against the code and just waiting for the enforcement officer to come give you a letter of violation, but that really doesn't work in the long term. However, did this student really get shut down? Well, not really. There's plenty of opportunity that he still has. I took a few minutes and found that his land falls under rural agricultural, which allows for bed and breakfasts with a conditional use permit. My county calls them a special use permit, but they're the same thing. There's a intended use for the land that does not include glamping, but there are special permits or conditional permits that you can apply for and do glamping. But here's the deal. Understand, enforcement officers, the one who shut you down, isn't really trying to make your job easier and trying to figure out what you can do with your land. They're just there to enforce their code. You, as a creative land developer, need to figure out how you do fit into the county code. And this student of mine, who shall go unnamed, also has a ding against him too, because it just has a recent anti-STR ordinance that seems to have outlawed anything. So it makes it look like, man, the world's against him. Not so fast, Padawan. In my mind, I think he's got an advantage. I say leverage the newness of the law. Understand that new ordinances Everyone's trying to figure out how it's going to land. Even the enforcement officers, even the planners, and especially landowners. Look, glamping's been around for a few years. People still find it very confusing and especially planners. It pays to be in a class like this one, my friend, because you can position yourself in your county as the expert in glamping. And in a way, you can wag the dog, get a conditional use permit, and crush it in your county. So how's that for some advice from Glamping Guy? Some free consultation here for my class students. You know what? If you haven't signed up for easy entry to a glamping business, do so today. The registration will only be open for a couple of weeks as we move through some very helpful curriculum for landowners who want to build safe, legal, and profitable glamping operations on their private property. If that's you, get registered and we'll see you in class.